the global tariff war that was launched by Donald Trump. Canada has just announced a series of retaliatory measures, including 25% tariffs on a variety of American goods.
Canadians are reasonable, and we are polite, but we will not back down from a fight. At the moment, the U.S. tariffs came into effect in the early hours of this morning.
The price war between Canada and the U.S., a major shift in the auto industry. The ongoing price war between Canada and the United States in the automotive industry is a critical development that could significantly shake the American auto market. Canada has just made a bold, unexpected move that could send shockwaves through the entire U.S. economy. This isn't just about tariffs or political disputes, it's a calculated financial strike driven by factors such as rising competition, shifting consumer preferences, changes in trade regulations, and the push toward electric vehicles, EVs. This price war has the potential to reshape how automakers operate, how consumers make purchasing decisions, and how the industry as a whole adapts to these changes. 1. Increased competition and market share battles. The price war between Canada and the United States will likely fuel intense competition, especially for automakers that operate in both countries. It has Washington scrambling, automakers panicking, and everyday consumers caught in the crossfire. For decades, the United States has dominated trade with Canada, assuming economic ties were unbreakable. However, Canadian manufacturers may lower their prices to gain a competitive edge, forcing American manufacturers to respond by cutting prices as well. Impact on U.S. automakers. American automakers, especially those with production facilities in the U.S., may find it challenging to maintain profit margins if Canadian manufacturers, who may have lower production costs, offer competitive pricing. U.S. companies that rely on domestic production and labor could be at a disadvantage compared to Canadian companies that benefit from lower overhead costs due to government subsidies or trade benefits. Impact on Canadian automakers. While the price war could be beneficial for Canadian automakers in the short term, it could also strain their profitability if they continue to face pressure to lower prices further. American automakers could retaliate by pushing for market share in Canada, intensifying the competitive landscape. 2. Price sensitivity and consumer behavior. Consumers in both countries are becoming increasingly price sensitive, especially in the wake of economic uncertainty and rising living costs. The ongoing price war may significantly influence consumer decisions. Increased consumer expectations. As automakers in both countries lower prices to stay competitive, consumers will come to expect better deals, improved vehicle features, and more competitive financing options. Heightened price sensitivity could alter how consumers evaluate vehicles, with affordability becoming a more prominent factor in their purchasing decisions. Shift toward more affordable vehicles. Consumers, especially in the U.S., may shift from high-end or luxury models to more affordable and practical vehicles as automakers lower prices. This could impact the sales of high-margin vehicles and push manufacturers to rethink their pricing strategies and product offerings. Increased demand for electric vehicles, EVs. As EV prices continue to decrease due to competition, consumers may flock to more affordable electric options. The price war could expedite the shift toward EVs, putting pressure on U.S. automakers to accelerate their EV production and innovation to meet this growing demand. 3. Impact on U.S. manufacturing and labor. The price war could have profound effects on U.S. manufacturing, especially in states where auto manufacturing is a major economic driver. If Canadian automakers succeed in offering cheaper vehicles, U.S. manufacturers may need to reduce their production costs to remain competitive. Cost-cutting measures. To cope with the impact of lower prices, U.S. automakers may seek to cut production costs, which could involve moving more operations offshore, reducing labor costs, or automating production lines. These moves could reduce jobs or shift labor practices in American manufacturing plants, causing potential job displacement or wage stagnation. Labor union concerns. U.S. labor unions may raise concerns about potential job losses or reduced bargaining power as automakers seek to cut costs in response to the price war. Unions could push for better job security protections or higher wages to offset downward pressure on prices and the potential for job cuts. Investment in innovation and technology. U.S. manufacturers may shift their focus toward investing in technology and automation to reduce long-term production costs. However, these investments may come at the cost of traditional manufacturing jobs, resulting in social and economic challenges. 4. Impact on automotive supply chains and parts suppliers. The price war will also affect suppliers, particularly those involved in producing components for vehicles. The auto industry is highly interconnected, and any significant price change or shift in production costs can have ripple effects throughout the supply chain. Cost pressure on suppliers. As automakers lower their prices to remain competitive, suppliers may feel the pressure to reduce the cost of raw materials, parts, and components. This could lead to tighter margins for suppliers, forcing them to make tough decisions regarding how to absorb these price reductions. Some suppliers may struggle to remain viable if they cannot reduce their costs accordingly. Innovation in supply chain practices. Suppliers may need to innovate by adopting new technologies, automation, and more efficient practices to stay competitive. However, these innovations come with challenges, including the need for substantial investment and a rethinking of traditional supply chain practices. Impact on global supply chains. The ongoing price war could have international repercussions, as suppliers outside the US and Canada may also need to adapt their pricing models. Changes in trade policies, tariffs, and currency fluctuations could further complicate matters for suppliers who rely on cross-border trade. 5. Government regulation and trade policy. The price war between Canada and the US could lead to changes in trade policies and government regulations. Both countries may take steps to protect their domestic auto industries by implementing tariffs, subsidies, or other protective measures. Potential for protectionism. If U.S. automakers are significantly harmed by lower-priced Canadian vehicles, the U.S. government may seek to impose tariffs on Canadian imports to protect domestic manufacturers. Conversely, Canada may implement measures to support its own auto industry, such as incentives for manufacturers or subsidies for Canadian consumers to encourage purchasing domestically produced vehicles. Impact on trade agreements. The price war could strain existing trade agreements, such as the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, as both countries push for concessions or alterations to protect their interests. Any breakdown in trade relations or adjustments to tariffs could further disrupt the auto industry on both sides of the border. 6. Long-term market shifts. The price war between Canada and the US may ultimately have long-term consequences for the automotive market, especially as both countries navigate the transition to electric vehicles and the adoption of new technologies. Acceleration of EV adoption. As automakers in both countries reduce the prices of their vehicles to stay competitive, the EV market could grow more rapidly. Once considered premium, EVs may become more affordable for a larger segment of the population, prompting a shift in consumer preferences and further pressure on automakers to invest in electric technology. Consolidation of the industry. The price war could lead to the consolidation of smaller automakers that are unable to compete with larger, more established manufacturers. This could result in fewer companies operating in the market, potentially reducing innovation and limiting consumer choices. Changes in consumer loyalty. As automakers reduce prices and offer more competitive features, consumers may become less loyal to specific brands. This could lead to a more fluid and dynamic market, where buyers regularly switch brands based on the best deals and the most attractive features, further intensifying price competition. Conclusion. The price war between Canada and the United States in the automotive industry is a complex and multifaceted situation that could have significant and lasting effects on the American auto market. From intense price competition and its impact on profit margins to shifts in consumer behavior and potential job losses, the ramifications will be felt across the entire sector. To navigate this tumultuous period, automakers will need to adapt quickly, invest in innovation, and focus on maintaining a balance between competitive pricing and profitability. At the same time, policymakers and labor organizations will need to address the evolving dynamics to ensure the long-term health and stability of the industry.